Welcome back to another Harry Potter edition of the Craft Mansion. Here today, I'm going to show you how to make drawers that look like Hogwarts luggage. So I have the Ravenclaw colors, Hufflepuff, Slytherin, and then Gryffindor. As you can see, there are different handles, different type of belts, and I will show you how to do everything in the video. I even have some of them which have pins, and this one has an even more extensive setup of pins. Obviously I'm a Ravenclaw. I have the scarf over here, and I will show you how to make these drawers, which still can be used to store clothes in them. I made these drawers just in time for the new Fantastic Beasts movie. I've seen it and I can honestly say it's really wonderful. And even in the trailer we see that in this movie we travel back to Hogwarts. That's why I made these drawers, because we're going to go back to Hogwarts with these Hogwarts luggages. And as always, let's get into the intro. Originally my drawers had this pattern, but some of the covering started peeling off, so I decided why not take the whole thing off and redo the drawers. If your drawer is not that smooth, just sand down the areas where it's a bit rough. Then remove the handles and fill the hole with plaster. Under the covering of my drawers, there was some writing, so I have to paint white all over the drawers so as to have an even base coat for the colors I'm going to paint later. And I will also add some details. And since the Ravenclaw colors are bronze and blue, I'm starting with a brownish bronze. Now I've mixed this type of blue, this was blue, and then some black and some white to make a Ravenclaw sort of blue. And while this dries, I'm going to paint the other parts of the drawer, and then when I come to about this far from the brown, I just don't do it and then do it later when the brown is dry. I've gone ahead and masked off the bronze and just simply filling up the empty space where there's white left. And now I will do the other drawers with the other house colors. I have Hufflepuff, where I will put black and yellow, Slytherin with silver and green, and Gryffindor with red and gold. I also have different patterns for different houses. This was the Ravenclaw pattern. For Hufflepuff I will have this pattern, and then Slytherin with some silver at the end, and Gryffindor with the gold in the middle. this for all drawers. So 6 centimeters from the top, and just mark it with a pencil and do a straight line. I've gone ahead and put painter's tape on the upper part of the line I just did, and now I mixed a grey paint, and then as you can see I left some white and some black, and I will dry brush this on the bottom half of the line. Now, dry brushing is a technique where you just dab the paintbrush into some paint, wipe most of it away, even on a piece of cloth, and then just give light strokes onto the material to highlight some parts of the drawer. The most concentrated parts should be next to the tape, so go down a bit and do light strokes here and there, but the most concentrated parts should be up here. We'll have to create a line to distinguish between the upper half and the lower half of the luggage. Then remove the tape and do some more dry brushing on the top half. Just make sure that this line is clearly visible. After you finish with the dry brushing, grab a whiteboard marker, make a line, and then gently go over it with your finger, so as to make it less visible. Now it's time to add belts to the luggage. These are belts I used for the other drawers, and for this drawer I'm going to use black belts. As you can see, some of them are torn, this one has been cut for other drawers. And now the first thing to do is a line that will guide you when you come to attach your belt. So, I don't know if it's really visible on camera, but there's a line over here. Then make sure that the buckle is roughly in the middle of this line, and then match up your belt with the line you just did. Mark off where the belt ends and cut off the excess. Now this belt is separating, so I'm going to add some super glue so it doesn't keep on separating and ruin the whole thing. Seal off the end with some super glue. While you're at it, grab the other belt and copy the length so as to have two matching belts. Then twist the belt around, because we need to make it look old. Then grab the end of another belt, put the belt onto a piece of belt, measure out the end, and cut the shape. Seal it off with super glue, and then measure the length you want for the upper belt. So this is a rough idea of what I'm using. Then put a dot on the area where there should be the hole and make a hole for the belt. The next step is optional, but I have these small, I don't know what you call them, rings, to put in the hole of your belt. This makes it look nicer and it won't tear up as easily. Then put the ring into the hole, use this thing, I don't know what it's called, it has like an end like this and then another one with a hole. Put the round end on the bottom and press onto the ring. I didn't film the next part, I forgot, but all you have to do is put some super glue at the back end of the buckle belt and just glue it onto the drawer, okay? Make sure that it's straight and that it's lined next to the line you did. Then, put the belt through the buckle. Make sure it's straight and mark off the end where you should cut. Cut off the excess and then make another belt end. So do the same process. And measure where the hole should go. Put this thing aside, and again twist the upper part to make it look old. Now put the belt through the buckle again, and start gluing bit by bit. I put super glue up until the back part over here. Then add super glue on the upper part, until you have stuck the whole thing. Once you have stuck your belt, go to the top part of your drawer and cut a piece of belt. Then split the belt in two if it splits. And I will use half of the belt. If I use the whole belt for the top part, it will hit the upper drawer when I come to close it, so I'm using half a belt. Then measure the thickness of the drawer and cut off the excess. Then put some super glue. And attach the whole thing. Now mix up some water and black paint and dab the mixture next to the belts. Then wipe off the excess from the belts and slightly dab on the paint that's on the drawer. Don't do the whole length of the belt, but only the parts where the belt is attached to the drawer. This gives off the effect that dirt accumulates on the areas where the belt is attached to the luggage. Then grab some white paint and dry brush the belt in some areas. Now mark the midpoint of the width of the drawer, my midpoint being this line over here, and then measure the distance between two of the holes. Now I measured the difference between the two innermost holes, and then what you do is you find 2 points. For example, I found the end of this belt and the end of this one, and I measured this length. I subtracted the length between these two inner holes, and then I divided by 2. That way I got a measurement where I could measure a distance from this belt to here, and I made a point, and then from this belt to here, and I made this point. Now these points correspond to the innermost holes, and then just mark the outermost holes. Now we're going to make guide holes. So first hammer down onto the points we just did, and then make 4 holes which are as long as your screw but thinner. Then align the holes together and screw them in place. I got 7 handles for €7 each. This last step is optional, but you can add some thumbtacks to the belts. So mark where you want to put your thumbtacks, make sure that they are in the middle, then push them in, and then hammer them the rest of the way. This way you look like you riveted in your belts and not just glued them. And that is my tutorial on how you can transform your average drawers into Hogwarts luggage. Of course, if you like the tutorial, like the video, and you can always subscribe by clicking on the Slytherin drawer, and you can either watch 2 more videos which are on the Hufflepuff drawer. I have another Harry Potter tutorial, and you can also see my Marvel wall paintings.